Blockchain is by far one of the best industries for developers in 2025, whether you're an experienced developer already or just starting from scratch. It's one of the highest paying fields in tech, it's incredibly remote friendly, and it's got insane growth potential in the coming years. But if I personally lost on my skills and had to start over again from square one, right now in 2025, what would I do? How would I learn this stuff if I was trying to get a job, become a freelancer, create my own bot, or even my own application? Well, that's what I'm explaining in this video today as a blockchain developer myself who works with this technology on a daily basis. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below and subscribe. And if you like what you see in this video today and you want the fast track to leveling up your blockchain skills, then I have a huge announcement. I've just launched the end-all be-all training for blockchain developers, the Blockchain Bootcamp 3.0, and the exclusive launch discount ends this Thursday at midnight. Inside, we cover all the hottest blockchain topics for 2025, like Ethereum, Solana, flash loans, AI, and so much more. So make sure you hold your spot, link down below before it's too late. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about how I would learn blockchain if I had to start over from scratch in 2025. So a couple quick things to get out of the way. You can definitely learn blockchain as your first programming language, because a lot of people ask me all the time is, should I go learn blockchain first or should I learn a bunch of other programming languages before I get into blockchain? So my answer is always no. You should start with blockchain and then learn everything else as you go. And also, do I need a bunch of other experience like a computer science degree or something like that? No, I don't have a computer science degree, and most of the people that I help become programmers don't either. So really the goal here is to start learning blockchain first and learning everything as you go. And the best system for doing this is broken down into 3 simple steps that I call follow, do, and then monetize. So step 1 is what I call follow. Okay, so this is basically just learning the skills. And the best way to do this is through a process that I call guided development. So this is basically where you're following along with an expert and learning the professional skills step by step. So what are the skills that you need to learn to become a blockchain developer in 2025? Well, if you look at the data, the absolute most demand for blockchains is going to be on the Ethereum blockchain and other EVM compatible chains. So basically the same technology that powers Ethereum, the same programming language and stuff like that powers most of the things that you see on this pie. So for that reason, the number 1 recommendation that I have is learning the Solidity programming language. What this is going to do is allow you to create programs or Solidity smart contracts for the Ethereum blockchain, but that's also going to work on many of the other blockchains you see here. It's going to cover the most bases. It's going to basically cover most of what you need to become a back-end blockchain developer. Okay. Now, what else do you need to learn besides Solidity? Well, you need to learn a framework for creating your Ethereum smart contracts. My number 1 recommendation for that's going to be Hardhat. All right. But if you want to expand your skills to cover a lot of other bases like Solana, for example, that's going to be the second most popular ecosystem for developers. The main programming language for that's going to be Rust. All right, so whatever route you decide to go, whether it's Solana or Ethereum or both, okay, you're also going to need a secondary programming language so that you can write tests for your smart contract, put them on a blockchain, write other programs and scripts, and also user interfaces. Okay. So when talking about UIs, one of the best things to use is JavaScript, okay? And if you learn JavaScript, you can use that for lots of other aspects of your programming as well. So React.js is a great framework for this, or it's an industry standard. And you're also going to need some front-end libraries like Ethers.js for Ethereum, and also Web3.js, the Solana version for Solana. So that's an overview of what you need to learn, but how do you learn them, okay? So what's the best way? Well, the best way is to learn by doing. So what does that mean? Well, let me tell you what the wrong way is. The wrong way is to try to go learn all these languages and frameworks in isolation without building anything for real, because you're not actually going to see what it's used for. You hear people say this all the time in school, like, when am I ever going to use this? So how do you fix that problem? Well, this is where learning by doing comes into play. Basically, you're building projects, you're learning the programming languages as you go, where you actually put the skills into practice while you're building something for real. One of the best ways to do this is to follow along with an expert like I was just talking about and building these things step by step. building a project they're showing you how to do. And like, that's exactly what I'm showing you how to do as in this Blockchain Bootcamp 3.0 that was just released. We cover all the technologies that I'm talking about in this video. So for example, like we show you how to build a real world cryptocurrency exchange that people can actually use. This can trade real world cryptocurrencies. Okay. You can connect your wallet, you can deposit tokens, you can make swaps, you can do all types of stuff. And this is one of the best ways to put those skills together to learn the programming language from scratch and become a blockchain master. Okay. So that's a summary of step one, basically guided development, learning the foundational level skills, and doing this where an expert's guiding you through the process. So step number two is going to be what I call do. All right. So that's where unguided development comes into play. All right. So at some point, you have to start writing code for yourself and solving problems for yourself, because that's the real skill of being a developer. All right. You can't just go follow along with somebody else the entire way and expect to actually be able to create something on your own completely. So at that point, you have to take the training wheels off and do something for yourself. So that's what unguided development is, writing code without a guide. So what are some ways to do this? Well, you can start off really simply, which is basically like taking a project that you've already created while you're following along with somebody else, and then just making it do something it doesn't already do. So a really basic thing would be like, if you created this with somebody else's help, could you just change basic things on the user interface? Could you add a logo? Could you change the colors? All right, that's really elementary stuff, but sometimes when you're just getting started, even that can feel like a big win. All right, but then you obviously want to move beyond that to creating like new features. So if you created an exchange, all right, that supported a certain set of tokens, could you make it support new tokens that it doesn't already support? All right, could you put it on a different blockchain that it's not currently on? Stuff like that, all right, where you're taking something that's familiar and then adding something unfamiliar so that you understand how to use what you've learned in the past to create something new. But then the final step is you want to take the training wheels off completely and actually build your own application entirely from scratch. So basically, you want to think of an app idea that works for blockchain and then code it from scratch without anybody's help. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You could actually take your own version of an existing application. So if you wanted to create an automated market maker like Uniswap, you could code that from scratch. If you want to code an NFT drop, these are found all over the place. You could do that yourself from scratch, or a DEX aggregator, whatever it is. You don't have to invent the idea, but you do need to write the code yourself. And so once you've gone through that process of unguided development, that's when you'll actually have the real skills to become a developer. You'll be able to solve problems with code. And at that point, you'll be able to move on to the next step, which I call monetize. So we've got follow, do, and now monetize. Now, this is where you're actually going to start making money with your blockchain development skills. Now, like we talked about before, there's many different ways to make money as a blockchain developer. But if you're trying to get a job or become a freelancer, it's time to hit the job market. And whenever you do this, you're already going to have a massive bartering chip because you already built your own application when you were learning. All right. Because that's one of the number one things that potential employers are going to want to ask is like, what can you do? And if you've built a portfolio project, then that's going to show them that you actually have the concrete skills to create something from scratch. Because trust me, most developers are not going to do this. All right. I've hired lots of developers myself, and a lot of them don't even have this at the table when they come to apply. And if you do this, it's going to put you way ahead of other developers. Now, let me show you another thing that's going to help you stand out from 99% of the other developers. And that's to create a portfolio site that markets you as a developer, just like this one. All right. So basically, this is going to show you people who you are, what you're about. You can put your applications in here to prove that you have the skills. You can connect your GitHub, okay, so that people can see that you wrote the code. You can add your resume, experience, ways to get in touch with you, all that types of stuff. Well, why is this important? Well, it's way more effective than sending out PDF resumes that are going to get lost in your employer's inbox, okay? This is something that's going to help you stand out and actually show them that you're going to go the extra mile. And it's also like a pre-interview. It gives them an idea who you are, what you can do, and what it's like to work with you before you even talk to them. It's going to help you cut through the noise and give you a huge competitive edge. So portfolio is absolutely essential. And so once you've completed your project, you've put it into a portfolio, then that's when it's time to start applying for jobs. Because people ask me all the time, like, hey, when should I actually start applying for jobs? And my rule is as soon as you've built your own project from scratch, and as soon as you put that into a portfolio site that markets you, that's when it's time to start applying. Because most people take way long to do this, all right? Here's why. It could actually take a little bit of time to land that first job opportunity, and most people have overinflated expectations about why they think what they need in order to get a job in the first place. Because for the vast majority of people, they're just trying to get their foot in the door, and all you have to do to accomplish this is basically prove that you have the skills so that someone can take a chance on you, and your projects and your portfolio are going to accomplish that. And then once you've gotten your foot in the door, that's when you can get the real world experience and add it to your resume, because there's nothing like real world experience, especially when you're in the job market. And then you can just increase your income from there. The sky's the limit. And now, where can you actually go to look for these types of jobs? You can go to traditional job posting sites like Indeed.com. Okay, you can just look for things like blockchain developer, Solidity developer, Solana developer. You can use crypto specific job websites like Crypto Jobs List. All right, you can often search for developer specific jobs or other types of blockchain jobs here. And then finally, LinkedIn. All right, so LinkedIn is actually a superpower because it's a gigantic search engine for developers. What I mean is there's lots of people on the platforms who are actually looking for you. And if I was starting over from scratch in 2025, I would not neglect LinkedIn as an essential part of my strategy. And so once you land the job, it's time to kick back and celebrate, because congratulations, you're officially a blockchain developer. All right, so that's an overview of the exact process that I would go through in 2025 if I was starting over from scratch and learning blockchain right now. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And whenever you're finished leaving your comment, make sure you smash that like button down below and subscribe. And if you want to get the fast track to everything I'm talking about in this video, again, I just launched the Blockchain Bootcamp 3.0, the absolute ultimate blockchain training that's going to show you to do everything that we're talking about today. And the special launch discount ends this Thursday. So make sure you hold your spot and sign up with the link down below. So that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you inside.